Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Transformation Tuesday, February 6th, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. I know you guys noticed something a little bit different. I had to go back to blonde for a minute. It's been a minute since I've been blonde. Yesterday it was black and then it had like the caramel highlight chunks, but I wanted to do something different. You guys know that I'm always switching it up. Our very special guest today is a Scorpio like myself. He was born November 5th, and I'm super excited to have him here in the dollhouse. Please join me as we give a warm welcome to a acting pioneer, Donn Carl Harper, ladies and gentlemen. Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
what's up, Miss Stevie?
Welcome to the dollhouse. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, yeah. I'm interested in how you put this together. I've watched some of your other interviews. Those are really cool.
Thank you. Which one was your favorite? Because I've had so many, I've even lost track of them. Which one had to be your favorite?
Yeah, I just recently saw the one where you had the filmmaker on, and he had uh, done that series Noah's Ark or something like that. Because I'm familiar with that. I was in LA at the time, and that was uh, groundbreaking show.
Now, speaking of LA, you are originally from Chicago. Do you know it's a lot of talent booming in Chicago? I mean, you got Sherry Shepherd, you got Jennifer Hudson, Chance the Rapper. The list goes on and on and on and
Yeah.
on. So, tell us about growing up in Chicago. We want to start at the beginning of your journey.
Well, I started out. I went to a Lutheran school, and then I went to a public high school, and that's when I got involved in acting. I got a part. I auditioned for the legendary Cooley High, and when I was like 15 years old. So I I did the audition. My mom. Well, I went down to the audition. The agent told me I hooked it all up myself. I was like 14 and a half, and I told my mom I had this audition down at this agency. Of course, she didn't believe me, and so I went down and auditioned, and I didn't get in Cooley High. It came down to myself, and there's another actor named by the name of Corin Rogers, and he played the role of Pooter. So it was him and I for Pooter, and he got cast. So within the next year or so, there was another movie called Monkey Hustle. And by now I'm 15 and a half, and I'm telling my mom I'm auditioning for this movie. And she's like, you ain't auditioning for some movie. You're going to summer camp. So uh, eventually I said, no, mom, seriously, I have an audition and to be in a movie. And of course, she sent me off to summer camp. By the time I got out to camp, within a week, they sent a script to her job, and thus I did my first movie deal with American International Pictures in a film called Monkey Hustle, and I can't live it alone. It follows me, but it starred the great Yaphet Kotto, um, Rosalind Cash. These are old time actors.
Oh, yeah.
It even starred a comedian named Rudy Ray Moore. And
Dolomite.
yeah,
Yes.
Dolomite was in it. This is one of his last films. So another actor, Randy Brooks, just a collection of. Oh, also Debbie Morgan. I don't know if
Yes.
you know Debbie Morgan, but
All My Children. I think it's All My Children. Yep.
yeah. Well, this was her first movie. It's called Monkey Hustle, and it is on Prime TV or something like that. They're still showing it, but I'm a baby. But that was my first movie role, and so I got really excited about being in a movie. I was the eighth character in the script, so I worked every day for like 3 months straight while we shot over my junior year in high school. So I came back to senior year in high school. I was somewhat a celebrity, and because I had done this movie, and then I just started pursuing it. I went to Columbia College here in Chicago and took up theater and film acting, and then I went on and I started auditioning, and I was auditioning and getting in a lot of roles. I worked with Sean Penn in 1982 in the film Bad Boys, and then one movie came after another, and then I got into TV. There was a series here called Chicago Story, and I got a part in that, and one thing led to another, and then I started getting involved in theater. I worked at the ETA Theater in Chicago. You may not have heard of them, and also the Black Ensemble Theater here in Chicago, which is the great Jackie Taylor. So these are my Chicago roots, and so I kept working, and getting little jobs, a lot of print work and stuff like that. And I ended up um, doing at least 3 or 4 commercials with Michael Jordan right when he got to Chicago, and those went really really well. So about 1998, I moved to LA. I had directed plays here and done theater, and I just moved to Los Angeles to try to pursue my career, and it turned out really good. I did really really good in LA. Several movies and TV appearances. I was on the Haunted Hathaways, which was the #1 children's show on Nickelodeon, and a couple of shows for ABC, and just getting to meet everybody. And then finally, uh, unfortunately, my mom passed away.
Sorry.
I'm an only child, so I had to move back to Chicago, and I ended up getting married to my childhood sweetheart, and I'm back in Chicago. And then I trying to retrace my roots, and I ended up getting cast in a film which was on the life of Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. They had dated, so there's a film called South Side with You, and it's all
Yes.
about their first date. So I ended up getting cast in that film, and and then one by another. I did Chicago PD, Chicago, all the local TV shows. But I recently did a film. I'm gonna give her a shout out. Sister named Milan Parker, and it is a LGBT film. Uh, it is called Coming Out for Christmas, and
Mm.
we just finished it. They had a premiere, but they're going to go back and do some stuff. But that'll be coming out real soon. And right now I'm working on some theater and keeping busy, and just working, trying to stay alive and work.
And that you have such longevity. I've read your bio, I've done my research, and you've done hit films such as Monkey Hustle, as you've mentioned. One of my favorites, you did Bad Boys, you did Soul Food, Soul Food. I had Vanessa Williams on the show, and to be able to talk about that cult classic film, and I think the film was filmed in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's why. That's how I got in. Yeah, it was taped here. I am the character. It's funny with Soul Food. My first day of shooting, I walked into the makeup, hair and makeup, and in there was Vivica Fox, and then it was Vanessa Williams and Nia Long, and
Yes.
then the chair for me. So I was just so flabbergasted. But I ended up I played the minister at Big Mama's funeral. Okay, so originally they gave me all of this dialogue. They gave me a Bible, and I was supposed to recite these Bible passages and so forth. And they also had another Chicagoan by the name of Joan Colossal. She was singing "His Eyes on the Sparrow,"
Yes.
and so when they edited it, the saw me go through and shake everybody's hand, but my dialogue got cut, and I'm praying over the casket at the end of the scene. So it was real quick, but I'm in there.
And you went on to do Chicago NBC Chicago Story. You've mentioned Chicago PD. You've went on to do General Hospital.
Yes,
You did, I mean, The American Dream. The list goes on and on. You have endless
yeah.
credits. So, out of all of your catalog of work, because you have so many, which one holds a very special place to your heart?
Oh wow, good question. Good question. You know, each job has its memories because of who I get to work with. Um, I recently completed a film, uh, and it hasn't been come out yet. There's been some problems with the whatever the production or whatever, but it is and it was real special to me. It's called Senior Moments, and I played a senior citizen. I know I look good, but I'm I'm getting up there. So and I got a chance to work with actor by the name of Dennis Haysbert, who's the Allstate guy,
Yes, yes.
and
24. Mhm.
this actor by the name of Barry Shabaka. Now Barry Shabaka is on this TV show called Bob and Abby Shola. It's on CBS. He plays the grandfather, and I also work with um, the the girl who was in Power, the first season of Power with Omari Hardwick. Well, she was ASA Valdez. Her name is Lauren. I can't remember her name, but so this movie really, uh, uh, I guess it was more significant. Uh, this one because it meant something. Unfortunately, I don't know what's happening. They had a stall in production and a lot of financial shit hasn't been straightened out, but it was good. But other than that, like I say, each movie, but the Barack Obama movie was really good because
Yes.
that was also uh, produced by Tika Sumpter. Tika is on everything, but she produced that, and she also played Michelle Obama in the film. So those were two things that really kind of stuck with me. I'm real proud of, and yeah,
And you also did Passions, which was a
yeah.
NBC classic soap. And I'm big into soaps. The women in my family, we all grew up watching All My Children, General Hospital. It's a ritual. Every day when I would come home from school, I would put on. My grandmother would be watching the soaps, and I'd be watching right with her. And then my aunts, my grandmother, rest her soul, all of them would be watching the
All
stories.
right,
And go ahead. I'm
let me
sorry.
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If your people watch the soaps, what did they call them?
The
Yeah,
stories. They would call them the stories. They call them the
they
soap.
story.
Yeah.
Hmm. They have to see their story, and yeah, yeah. So no, that's just funny. Yeah, I have a soap opera career that I don't really talk about because basically I got hired as what they call an extra in the
Yeah.
soaps, and you get bumped up. So yes, I worked on General Hospital with Anthony Gary, who played Luke, and when he was on there, and I had 5 days shooting in General Hospital, and I have to say they were the nicest folks I ever worked with. They work on location at ABC Studios, and also their hospital, General Hospital, they use the same hospital for Grey's Anatomy. So when you go to shoot there, you also pass the Grey's Anatomy group. So I haven't been on Grey's yet, but General Hospital was the nicest people, and I enjoyed working in it. Then I worked 6 years on the TV show Passions, and it was really, really great. It's a great training. Soap operas are not easy as everybody thinks. You have script every day, and each actor on the soap has a private coach to go over their lines with them because they change it all the time. So it's real direct. And I see my friend Tony Winters join. Pretty Tony. Tony Winters is an actor friend of mine that he works in LA. He does everything. So I always say when people say, "Well, what are you doing?" I say, "I'm trying to catch Tony Winters because he be working." Okay. Anyway, but I worked on the soap operas for quite a few years, and that was real good training. Uh, soap operas usually, soap operas usually, you know, they hire models.
Yep.
Okay, they hire these pretty, excuse me, but pretty motherfuckers. They look good. So a lot of the acting on soaps are very kind of stilted or whatever, but these guys look so good on, white actors, black actors. They so
Oh
they
yeah.
primarily hire a lot of models, and they get the first shot, and then actors come in to do guest roles or whatever. Uh, like for example, there is a actress named Vernee Watson. A lot of older actors go back to the soaps. So there's an actor named Vernee Watson, and she, if you
Fresh
Google,
Prince.
yeah,
Yes.
she's on every, in the '70s she was commercial queen and she did shows or whatever, but now she's working on General Hospital and consistent work,
Hmm.
and it's all
Hmm.
about uh, keeping the work. So I do, as well as acting, I direct. I also I got a podcast, a radio podcast, and I have been doing it for 11 years. It's called Man About Town. And we interview, we go all over. We do politics, sports, but I like to interview celebrities. So maybe in turn, I can have you on my show and interview you.
I'd love to. I'd
Yeah.
love to.
Yeah, and so what we do is we just interview, talk. It's not a podcast like this where it's video.
Yeah.
It's podcast like you turn on your radio at night, lay in bed and listen. You hear something you want to call in. It's like that. So and it's just talk radio every Friday night for 11 years. And we have had over 53,000 listeners, and we're in 11 countries,
Wow.
15 countries. They got a little dashboard that tells you where you're at. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm just hustling, looking for more work. Like I said, I got some stuff coming out, maybe producing some plays and so forth.
And you also have your production company as well, too, Juju Sauce. And you went on to do a cult classic play for colored girls, which is by Ntuzake Shange.
Yeah.
And we've seen the remake with Janet Jackson, Anika Noni Rose, Whoopi Goldberg, whatever. The list goes on and on. Kerry Washington. What
Yes.
was it like recreating that classic? Because that classic has been around centuries.
Well, I've done I've done that play 6 times. Okay, we had one kind of national tour, and then the other productions have been were in Los Angeles and here. And it's interesting about the play. First of all, Intozaki Shange uh, wrote that play, and it became, after she passed. So after a while, it became a classic. Uh, that and Raisin in the Sun, they became black classics. And so, and I think it's like the 50th year since it's been on Broadway. I saw the original, original cast do it, and the original cast of Color Girls had Latanya Richardson, who is Sam Jackson's wife.
Yes.
S. Epatha Merkinson, who's on Law and Order, and they're all over the place. So they did a real good job. Uh, I did it, and we had a great time. I believed in the play. A lot of times when that play first came out, it was like It was supposed to be derogatory to the black man, just like they said with Color Purple when the movie came out. It made the black man look bad, and they had forums on it and so forth like that. But
Yeah.
I think Intozaki kind of wrote it as a love poem to the black man, and that's why I did it. I had much success doing it. We did it in Chicago, standing room only. Once the word gets out, black women support, and that's their play. It's also the play that a lot of young actresses coming out of college, there's great monologues in there for everybody. So a lot of theater students pick up that. And I would tell theater students or any of my acting students, this is if they're black women, this is a play that you need to
Yeah.
take some of the monologues from, and also it does transfer because I added a character called Lady in Rainbow, okay, which
Mm,
is kind of covers the LGBT community, and also I used the play with some students recently where I was able to take some of the monologues, they travel, as Michael Jr. says, they can go for men or women, and we had much success with men doing it too. But love to play. I'm tempting to do it again. Uh, it's only like 8 rows in it, and everybody wants that part. But we'll be doing that again too.
now, you have so many accolades and accomplishments. What are things that you are proud of the most?
Well, I'm proud of, first of all, I'm proud of the fact that God wake me up in the morning.
Mm,
Like I told you, I had some deaths over the weekend, and as I get older, I'm just, my friends are checking out, and so it's about, what good quality work you can do now. I'm proud of everything I've done. But I've done some funny movies, some low grade movies. I did a film called Meet the Family, and people love that movie, but it was high budget and everything, but the script just didn't carry. So, but I love I love pretty much everything I do, as long as it's good quality. Uh, um, and then some stuff I was in and I got cut or bumped around, but I'm in there like Soul Food. It looks great on my resume. I'm in there, you know, uh, and um, and more or less, I'm just really proud of the people I get a chance to work with. There's a lot of great people that I've worked with uh, that have led me to different things. I did a play in when I first got to LA. I got my friend Carl Gilliard, who's a great mentor and friend. He told me to come when you get to LA, I'm gonna hook you up. And sure enough, the first day I did this play, it was an acting class for Bill Duke, and these were the students that were in the class. So in the class uh, was Taraji P. Henson, uh, oh my God, Carl Gilliard, Trisha Mann Grant, uh, another sister named Tosha Story, who's on uh, the new Will Smith show. And so I was and then I got to work with Charles Dutton. And
oh yeah, rock.
what we did, we put together called the Evening of Shakespeare. And the people that came through just at the rehearsal, Anthony Anderson and Shamar Moore. And this was my first day in Hollywood. And I'm like, and people they're like, "What's up, man? How you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, welcome to Hollywood, whatever, whatever." So the projects change, the people don't. So you latch onto the people you work with, and you hope to continue work with him. It's an interesting thing. Joe, there's an actor by the name of Joe Pesci that was in Goodfellas, a white
Yeah.
actor. And, they asked him once in an interview, he says, do you, now that you made it, do you, you know, are you happy and stuff like that? And he said, you know what? He said, it's fun. Uh, you missed the part where you go to the audition and you see your friends or you see people that you was in a play with some time ago, and you're both auditioning for the same part, and sometimes it's okay, you get a little jealous because they got it and you didn't. You know what I mean? But that's the part that he misses most. So like I said, in this business, the journey and the people you meet along the way. I have great friends in LA. I have great friends in Chicago. I've been in Las Vegas. So I've got great friends all over that are, and people that are friends and really hang with you, you know, they do that. So, and it's all about the next time you see them, what you're working on, what you're doing. It's not, it's just keeping up. So,
And that kind of would have tied into my next question I was going to ask you. What is one of your most impactful memories throughout your career?
um, well, like I said, each job, but impactful. It more or less works on the people that I have met. Like I, I had, I met and had dinner with Sidney Poitier, totally on the fly, totally on the fly, and it was just really, really good. So that was really impactful, and just to have that time with me, and he shared his food with me, and we talked shop and took pictures and stuff like that. Um, Film wise, I guess the most my first experience, and which always will stick with me, it was working on Monkey Hustle, because at 15, I'm looking at these stars, and believe me, I got a lead role in the movie. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'm 15 years old. I just got in. I got blessed, and but I hung. And then when I look at that movie and I see the work I did, I'm real proud of that, because I held my own with all Hollywood actors. It was only a few of us that got picked from Chicago, but and I got a taste of Hollywood, and then everybody in wherever you're from, if you're from Chicago or New York, and you're in this business, you always want to try Hollywood, and for people to make it out of your city and then go to Hollywood. Like once I went to Hollywood, everybody at home thought I was famous. They didn't know I ain't making no money. I'm out there hustling, but uh, you become you get a little pride because you went out there, you tried and so forth. And a lot of people never make it out of their towns or anything like that, you know.
OMG, you look so freaking adorable. Hot. That Dolly Parton, Marilyn Monroe look you got going on today. Thank you. Thank you, baby. I know that is Nolly. Thank you. Shout outs to Melanie on the glam. I wanted to do something different today. Yesterday I had black hair. Today it's always gonna be a switch up with me, so I'm not gonna stay the same. It's gonna be a switch up, and I like it. I like it. It's fun. So speaking of fun, I told Donn when we were messaging each other earlier and we were getting prepared for the show today that we were going to have some fun. It is Black History Month, and I told him that I was going to quiz him.
Uh-oh.
So some of the names that you've mentioned are in the questions. You just got to know a date or whatever it is that they've made. All
Okay.
right. So we'll get right into it. Who was the first African American woman to hold a pilot license? Here's your choices: Bessie Coleman, Mary McLeod Bethune, or Barbara Smith.
Oh, Bessie Coleman, man. Girl, please.
Yeah. All
Ask
right.
me. Let me ask you one. Who's the first woman the first black. No, let me say. Let me put. Uh, who was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
It would have to be Tina Turner, if I'm not mistaken. Would have to be
No,
her. Aretha Franklin,
Aretha Franklin. People don't know that.
the
That's
Queen of
just.
Soul.
I'm a tri-
Yes.
I'm a trivia person, so come on with you. Come on.
All right. Who was the first African American model to be featured on the cover of GQ magazine? Here's your choices: Iman, Naomi Campbell, or Tyra Banks.
Wow, GQ. Okay, you got it. Oh my God, Iman, Naomi Campbell. Um, oh, I was hoping you'd say Beverly. What's the name? But I think it's
Beverly Johnson, yes.
yeah. I think it's Iman. I could be
It's Tyra.
Tyra.
Tyra. Yes.
Okay, got me.
Who was the first black woman to serve as the U.S. Supreme Court Justice? Ketanji Brown, Shirley Chisholm, Carol Masley Braun.
Oh, Ketanji Brown, right?
Yes,
She's yeah,
Ketanji.
right, right. Black history. Wow, yeah. Okay, good.
What was Muhammad Ali's nickname? And this is so simple.
Uh, his his nickname. Uh, oh God, Ali. I don't. I mean, well, wait. Ali, Boumaier. Uh, uh, oh God, I'm thinking of. They call Jesse Jackson the country preacher. I don't know. He's been
Here's
called
your
so many
choice.
things.
There's
Cassius,
the that shouldn't even be an option. The fridge, Mookie, or the greatest.
the greatest. Okay,
Yes,
okay, okay. I forgot you giving me the answers.
Jesse Owens is considered to be one of the greatest athletes of his time in which sport? Fencing, track and field, or weightlifting?
Track and field. Now, also,
Yeah.
I'm friends with Jesse Owens' granddaughter. Her name is Gina Hemphill and Kaplan or something like that. But anyway, I grew up with her. Yeah, I know Jesse. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
For my LeBron James fans out here, you guys should already know this. LeBron James has played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, LA Lakers, and what basketball team? Miami Heat, Houston Rockets, or Chicago Bulls?
Miami Heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of legends, we have another legend in the building, ladies and gentlemen, supermodel Cara Young, who has graced the covers of Vogue magazine. She is modeled for Revlon Cosmetics. She has done Maybelline, and I had the honor of interviewing her. So I remember having pictures and posters of her, Beverly Johnson, Vanessa Williams, Janet Jackson, all the girls plastered on the wall of my room. And I still have the picture of her and Veronica Webb and Cindy Crawford right in front of my vanity when I'm getting my makeup done. I miss you too, Cara. And she says that you have a great voice. So,
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, Cara Young.
all right, Carver. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. So, legend, legend, legend. How does it feel to know that you have one of the world's top supermodels watching us as we're doing this interview?
Hey, I love it. I love it. Hope we can work together. That's collaboration is everything, and opportunity. Preparation meets opportunity is success. So, you know, I am. I'm trying to work, stay alive, support my family, and looking for good projects. Um, and looking, I'm doing this podcast, so I'm open to do interviews with people. I had a podcast partner and for 11 years, and unfortunately, last week he passed away. So I kind of dumped the whole show in my hands. And so I'm looking for guests to interview. Matter of fact, Tony, you're on my list from my friend Walter. And yeah, yes, I am honest. I've tried to be, you know. It's so bad out here nowadays, it's just, getting up and pray and
Yeah.
just ask God to lead you in the right direction and making the right steps.
Look at all
So,
the love you're getting from Cara. And yes, everybody is sending you love. She says you seem very honest, sounds good, and sorry about your podcast. And she said that she's learning a lot from you too. How does it feel to know that your work has even impacted some of the world's top supermodels, Cara Young, and so
hey,
many others that are in the fashion industry that are watching and viewing your
I
work?
appreciate, people from the fashion industry. I've been trying to, I have a concept of an idea that I was working on. I used to, there used to be this show called Al Anthony Salute to the Superstars, right? And it was real big. It toured the country. And as a kid, it really impressed me because they were impersonators. So it was my first experience in actually seeing impersonating performers and also drag performers that were doing it because they had a person playing Diana Ross and stuff like that. But then they had same sex characters playing themselves,
Yeah.
and it was just really impactful. So, and then over my career, I've met people that look like people, and being in LA for 20 years, there's a lot of lookalikes. Like I work with this guy, I just remember his name was Jeremy or something, but he was a splitting image to Tom Cruise. And so I said I was going to do maybe like a talk show format and just introduce these people who impersonate other people. I met a guy that does Eddie Murphy. Oh, but he's a horn player. I'm just like, oh my God, we put you together. But the most one I found, and you should research this person. This is so funny. There, and I saw it on Instagram originally. There's a person who is doing Fantasia, and and let me tell you, she did Fantasia better than Fantasia. Okay, I don't know, I forget what her name is, but she's a Fantasia impersonator, and so I thought that I'm impressed by that. People that can just people that have talent. I just got talent because this is what I do. you know. But you know, I didn't have no B plan. I just I started doing it, and many broke days and everything. But to for people to get into it, and also with your children. If your children are
Yes.
art in the arts, give them a chance. If you think they got chops and they want to do this, then let them do it. Because you never know. You never know where the next star is. So, but I'm jumping around. But I'm trying to put together a lookalike show, and you know, whereas you see people and you just shocked. Just they can transform themselves or whatever. So that's something in the long range that I'm working on.
And that actually was going to be my next question for you with your project that you talked about in the beginning of our interview that you have coming out for Christmas. Uh, what else is next?
Well, Um, like I said, I have this movie coming out called Senior Moments. We're it's it's transitional right now. There's some other stuff going on I don't know about, but I'm real proud of that. And when that comes out, I don't know if it's going to be streaming or in the theaters, but uh, looking forward to doing that. I'm doing a play locally called Invitation to a Stranger. It's kind of like a mystery play. I'm doing that in DuSable. Uh, I'm working. My wife and I are working on producing a musical. It's in the early stages, but there's a music called Maggie Never Bitter, and we're looking at that as part of my production company to put that on. A lot of great things are happening in the city of Chicago. My friend Harry Lennox, who is on the blacklist, very good friend of mine. He's opening an African American museum for the arts here in
We need
Chicago. There's
that.
nothing like that. And just to document all the work that black people have done over the years and stuff like that. I'm also potentially working on a book. My grandfather was a uh, he was a taxidermist, and if you know what taxidermist is, somebody that stuffs the animals and stuff like that. But he was the first black taxidermist in the city of Chicago, actually in the whole country, because that was a field that mostly only white men did. But last couple of years, the museum he worked at in Chicago, they honored him. So we're in the process of trying to get a street named after him, and also do the story of his life. You know, uh, so he's long past, but he was a great. Since it's Black History Month, we just want to get it in any
Yeah,
way we can. And so forth.
and I love what you just said about Harry Lennox opening an African American museum because there is one, but we need more. I mean, they're not too, they're banning books. They're trying to erase it out of the schools. It's important that our children, black children, African Americans, us, that we continue to keep
Yeah.
giving heritage and history. That is very, very, very important. Um, you're on break, Nolly. Nolly said break is over. No, I want to hear about him. The first black taxidermist. Like, there's things that we don't even know. I mean, we grew up in school knowing about Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Madam C.J. Walker, but there's so many other black inventors and creators out here. They're not teaching
No.
that. So I think this museum would be excellent for us to be able to go out here and learn our heritage, our culture, where we came from, who invented what. We know about Garrett Morgan and invented the traffic. Like, we need to know more about our
Yeah.
history and our legacy.
This is and the museum that Harry is opening is dedicated to the arts and entertainment, because there's a lot. Man, there's so much black theater and stuff that goes unnoticed. I've worked heavily in black theater I've been in this business almost 50 years, and I'm only 27. No, I'm just kidding. But there's been so much that is undocumented, because the videos and all of that didn't come out till late. So a lot of great productions and stuff like that, and people like Gregory Hines and
Mm,
people that have passed on. So if you don't know, you don't know. You just happen to see an old movie, and you see stuff. So it's very important that we, as artists, document our history now, especially through video and stuff like that. Like I tell my wife all the time, and I tell this to any artist: if you do any kind of theatrical production or anything, get a tape, get it, just to have it for your own self or whatever, or try to tape your interviews like this one, and just get a collection. And I tell people in this business, if you continue to audition, you will get cast. You will get cast. If you continue to pursue it, you will get some breaks. I can't say if you'd be a star, or if that's what you want. You know, um, Basically, I just want to be a good actor and a solid paycheck. We need that
and that's
money.
what, absolutely, absolutely. And Kara says the taxidermist,
Yeah,
fascinating. Carl Cotton,
Carl.
Carl Cotton.
Yeah, Google it. Carl Cotton is the first. And like I said, taxidermy's been around for years. Of course, the white man had it, but my grandfather, and he wasn't able to do it right away. He had to apply and then go back to school and then apply again, and he did. But he was the first black taxidermist in all the whole country. So I think, there needs to be a book, there needs to be a movie, they need to name a street after him, and I am survived by him. I am his grandson, so I intend to make it happen for that. Use my platform to try to do that, and I look like him, so I could even play him too.
All right. All right.
Get the word.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do we have any
Yeah.
questions for myself or Don, ladies and gentlemen? I'm having so much fun. And before we close out, before we go, are there any gems or wisdom that you would like to give to the next generation of up and coming actors that are actors? We've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, I would tell, like, well, if this is really what you want, then don't give it up. You know, we as actors, what we have to do is we got to eat. So that means some of us have to have a job. In Chicago, here in this city, you got to have a job. And a lot of actors work regular jobs. And they do this in the evenings on the side or whatever. It's hard to give up that gig when you need it. In LA, there are more opportunities, so you can float. I had to work as a street performer. Uh, I dressed in a costume on Hollywood Boulevard. I was Elmo on Hollywood Boulevard. Those of you know me, and a lot of fanfare from that. I got a lot of good and bad press from doing that. But I used to call it my waiter job. So my advice to young actors is hang in there, and write. If you can write your story, or write the experiences that happen to you, or the people you meet, that's always encouraging to somebody. Like I say, everybody in Chicago, everybody usually wants to go there. Well, it's either this: they want to go to LA or they want to go to New York. If they're musically inclined and sing, they want to go to New York and hit the Broadway. They want to be on TV and movies, they usually go to LA. But now, thanks to Tyler Perry, you have Atlanta's another place. So it's like if you're not getting any hits where you are, just and now since COVID, you can get you can audition all over the country from your house, and through venues like this, you can be seen. Uh, like I always tell people, I'm not. I've been in the business. I got a lot of experience, but I'm still looking for the next job, and a lot of times it's slow. So you have to hang in there, persevere, uh, pray. I don't know what you believe in, but you got to pray. You can't do this stuff by yourself, because without prayer, or whatever deity you belong to, you need help. And you need a good group of people around you that support you and believe in you. That's all I got.
All right, fashion dolls. My chat just froze like completely. So what I'm gonna do is swipe out and come back, and we're gonna give the final thought with Don, and Don is gonna give his information, and then we're gonna take some questions. I see someone type something in the question box. I can't see it because the chat froze. So I'm gonna restart, swipe out, and then come back and add Don.
Okay.